Why did Marty Hermanson step down? Well,
because he didn't want to be there for the slaughter.
he lost big time.
He didn't want to get his own blood on.
I recruited Steve Kohut at a Republican club meeting. I handed him one of my flyers, you know, my recruitment flyers, and I told the people there, hey, if you really want to do something, you got to become a precinct committeeman. Light bulb went went on over his head, and then I spoke to a couple more groups down in Pinal, a 912 group. They started recruiting like crazy, and you're right, Marty would have got his clock cleaned in that election, so he stepped down to run for party chairman, who saved face.
Got his clock cleaned again.
And that didn't work either. Marty's a nice guy. I just don't think he's very conservative. He thinks he is, and he says he is, but I don't think he is. But like I said, he's a nice guy. He's a nice man. Now, again, only PCs get to elect the leaders. Only PCs get to, if there's a vacancy in the legislature, the state legislature, guess what happens? They don't hold an election for all the registered Republicans to vote in. Only the PCs select 3 replacement nominees. Only the PCs. So let's say that there's some rhino in that office who decides to run for Congress, and it's your district, and you've got a conservative majority. You're going to select 3 people, give those names to the county board. The county board will select one of them, no matter who they select. You've got a brand new conservative in the legislature who's now an incumbent, who's probably going to win re-election, because most incumbents win. So, powerful, powerful thing. That's real political power. So, and then the PCs are in the best position to help get out the vote in that very important, traditionally very low turnout primary election. As I said, if you're just a registered Republican, you're really not in the ballgame. And if you're an independent, you're out left. You're not even in the stadium. You don't get to do anything inside of a political party. So a little bit about, real quick about counties and precincts. The U.S. has 3,141 counties. Every county in the country is divided up into precincts. We've got in Arizona 2,239 precincts and 30 legislative districts. Maricopa County is divided into 18 legislative districts, and the legislative districts are divided up into precincts. And we've got, in Maricopa County, 1,142 precincts. There's one PC for about every 125 registered voters, and or a major portion thereof. Some precincts have so few Republicans in them that it takes 3 signatures to get on the ballot. 3. I recruited a man and a lady in one of those precincts. I knocked on their door. I did a survey, found out they hated McCain and loved J.D. Hayworth. I said, hey, what about the party? You think the leadership's real good? No, their leadership sucks. I said, how about this? Here's a form. Here's a form for you, and here's a form for you. You sign for yourself. You get your wife to sign for you, and vice versa. And then you got to get one more Republican. Oh, we know a guy down the street. Okay. 3 signatures. Then you got to fill out this other form and get it notarized, or get two witnesses that says you live in the precinct and you're a registered Republican, and that's it to get on the ballot. That's all it takes. It's real simple. And the party, if you go to the meetings, will tell you how to do this.
But you can get appointed without even doing that.
Yeah, but when you get appointed, unless you become elected, you don't get to elect the leadership, with some exceptions. You have to get elected in the primary. But in the interim, if you're here tonight and you're not an appointed PC yet, you're going to be one before you leave. Or, if I see you at the mall and I recognize you, you better turn around and run away. Okay, now, we the people are to blame. Just hold your questions till the end, because I'm taping this and I want to make sure I don't run out of tape. We the people are to blame. I don't blame McCain, I don't blame anybody. I blame us, we the people. The Constitution, this is my Citizens Rule book. These are some new ones. This is the one I read from. First 3 words, we the people. That's there for a reason. The founders did that for a reason. We have forgotten that. We have got to read this Constitution and read it and read it and read it, and the Declaration of Independence over and over and over. You can't hold the congressmen's feet to the fire about what their enumerated powers are in Article 1, Section 8, unless you have one of these. When you call them up and say, tell me that legislation that you just, like John McCain, remember the mandatory voluntary service bill for school children, $5.7 billion of deficit spending? I called his staff. Tell me in Article 1, Section 8, where there's authority for something like that. Oh, and he hummed and hawed and danced around. You've got to know what to tell the congressman, and it's the Constitution. It's the supreme law of the land. Okay, so half of these slots are not filled. We've got to fill them up, and we've got to quit blaming somebody else. We've got to blame ourselves and go get and recruit people. Each one of us who's now a PC, you got to find out how many PCs slots there are in your precinct, and then you got to go find out who you can recruit in your precinct to become a precinct committeeman. I want to have, by the time we get to the 2012 primary election, I want every precinct committeeman slot to be a contested slot. Okay. As I said, in 2008 there were 694,000 registered Republicans in Maricopa County. There were 6,231 slots for a precinct committeeman, but only 1,989 were filled. Okay, we made great progress. Now we're up to 2,934, but we got to do better than that. There has to be among those about 705 or 7,000 registered Republicans in Maricopa County. You can't tell me that there aren't 3,500 rabid, right-wing, Attila the Hun type people like me in Maricopa County. There are. They just don't know about this. I've been to functions for Sheriff Joe, sitting with these nice professional guys, and they, they're telling me about how long they've been in the party and all this. And well, are you a precinct committeeman? What's a precinct committeeman? They think they're in the Republican Party and they don't even know what a precinct committeeman is. Those are good, decent people. They just don't know what they're missing. We got to tell them about it. We have a civic duty to do this. Do you remember that term from grade school, civic duty?
Yes.
I remember it. I remember my teachers telling me there's going to come a time when you're going to have to get involved in party politics. Sometime when you've got the time and the inclination and there's a need for it. There's a time that's going to come when you're going to have to do this. Each one of us have to do it. Well, that time is now, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't do it in 2011, we're going to lose our country. So, those of you who aren't PCs and those of you who are, the ones who aren't PCs, what are you going to do?
Become a PC.
And the ones who already are, what are you going to do? You've got to recruit more PCs. Yeah.
We just be responsible for our own precinct.
Exactly.
I have my precinct. I became the first one. There are 5 slots. I have committed.
Now you know what your job is, right?
I've committed this year to having 100%.
And if we all do that, or as Ralph likes to say to our group a lot of times, if each one of us just recruited 2 more precincts,